Why is YouTube labeling survivor testimonies as misinformation? And who gets to decide which voices get silenced? If you've watched videos about ritual abuse on YouTube, like mine here, you've probably seen this pop up. A Wikipedia article about satanic panic appears, calling it a moral panic consisting of over 12,000 unsubstantiated cases of satanic ritual abuse. Unsubstantiated. That's the word they used for our lives, for our testimonies, for our trauma. I am a survivor of ritual abuse, mind control, and trafficking. So here's what they don't tell you in that warning label. The real story behind satanic panic is that the so-called satanic panic wasn't just a cultural overreaction that frizzled out. It was a deliberate movement designed to shut down the voices of those who had been harmed in ritual abuse. And the False Memory Syndrome Foundation, the organization that pushed the narrative that survivors were making it all up, that our memories were false, was actually founded by Pamela and Peter Fried, trying to discredit their own child. Let that sink in. The very foundation that told the world we were lying was started by accused perpetrators trying to cover their tracks. What YouTube is doing is wrong. Let me explain what's actually happening on these videos. When you watch a video about ritual abuse on YouTube, a box appears, usually right below the video player. This box contains a Wikipedia article about satanic panic. This is called an information panel. When I clicked on the three dots on the right of the information panel and selected, why am I seeing this? YouTube gave me this explanation. When you search or watch videos related to topics prone to misinformation, such as the moon landing, you may see an information panel at the top of your search results or under a video you're watching. Let that sink in. YouTube has categorized ritual abuse survivor testimonies as topics prone to misinformation, in the same category as moon landing conspiracy theories. They're saying that our experiences, our trauma, our testimonies, our lives are equivalent to conspiracy content. YouTube explanation continues. Information panels show info sourced from independent third-party partners to give more content on a topic. But here's the problem. Who are these independent third-party partners that YouTube is using? Wikipedia, an openly editable platform where literally anyone can shape the narrative. That's their authoritative source. And here's the most important part. YouTube states that these informational panels appear regardless of what opinions or perspectives are expressed in the video. Read that again. Regardless of what is said in the video. In other words, it doesn't matter what I say in my video. It doesn't matter what evidence I present. It doesn't matter how many survivors come forward with their testimonies, which there are a lot. It doesn't matter if the video is educational, personal testimony, or research-based. The warning label appears automatically before anyone even watches the video, simply because the topic is ritual abuse. So I have to ask, who is controlling the narrative? You may want to ask, who is controlling what you think? Who is trying to keep us from having freedom of speech, especially those of us who were exploited by people who do everything in their power to cover up the trafficking and cultic criminal network and groups that are a very rampant part of our society? Why are survivor voices being systematically discredited before anyone even hears what we have to say? This isn't right. This is not okay. When survivors of other crimes speak out, they aren't met with automatic misinformation warnings. Their testimonies aren't labeled as unsubstantiated before anyone even listens. But when it comes to ritual abuse, mind control, and trafficking, suddenly we're grouped with conspiracy theorists. Suddenly, our voices need to be contextualized before anyone is allowed to hear them. Let's talk about the power structure here. Think about this. Who benefits from survivors being silenced? Who benefits from you, the public, believing that ritual abuse is just a moral panic that never really happened? The same people who did this to me, who did this to survivors of ritual abuse in the first place. The same people, the same networks that operate in secrecy. Well, I'm no longer going to stand for keeping this quiet. The same criminal organizations that rely on no one believing their victims. This is exactly how abuse continues. This is exactly how cover-ups work. Silence the victims, discredit our testimonies, label us as mentally unstable or confused, as if we're making it all up, or at least conspiracy theorists spreading misinformation. And now tech platforms are doing it for them automatically with algorithm-driven warning labels. We were exploited by people who do everything in their power to cover up what they've done. Multi-billion-dollar-a-year business in trafficking alone. Why wouldn't they do everything in their power to cover it up? A lot of survivors are coming forward. It's no wonder the algorithms are now working overtime. I'm not asking for people to believe everything that they hear on YouTube. I am asking for people to critically think for themselves. I'm asking for survivors to have the same freedom of speech that everyone else on here has. I'm asking for our testimonies to be heard without automatic disclaimers telling people what to believe, or that they're actually telling people that we're probably lying before they even press play. If you see these warning labels on survivors' videos, you do have options. You can click the 3 dots on the panel and select Don't Show This Again. Once you do that, you won't see the information panel for that topic anymore. You can choose to listen to survivors without a filter telling you what to think about first. You can use your own mind to think for yourself. Ask yourself the question, who benefits from me not believing these survivors? Use your own critical thinking instead of letting Wikipedia and YouTube decide for you what's real and what's not real. Here's what I know to be true. The Satanic Panic was a strategic operation to discredit survivors and shut down investigations. The False Memory Syndrome Foundation was founded by accused abusers protecting themselves. And these YouTube warning labels are about controlling the narrative and silencing survivors. My videos and the videos of countless other survivors are being labeled as misinformation, not because we're lying, not because we are conspiracy theorists, not because there's no evidence, but because these are powerful people, powerful systems invested in making sure no one believes us. Every time a survivor finds their voice, every time we speak our truth, we do threaten the very systems that profit from our silence. And those systems will use every tool available, including technology, algorithms, and fact-checking organizations like Wikipedia, to discredit us before we can be heard. Watch this and share this with others before they take this YouTube video down. Here's the thing about truth. It doesn't need permission to exist. It doesn't need a platform's approval. It doesn't need Wikipedia's or YouTube's validation. Truth simply is. And survivors, we're still here. We're still speaking. We're still fighting. They tried to fragment our minds. They tried to steal our voices. They tried to make us disappear. But we didn't disappear. We didn't stop talking. And now we are continuing to tell our stories. I'm going to keep making those videos that are about ritual abuse. Other survivors are going to keep making theirs. No warning label, no algorithm, no misinformation panel is going to stop us from speaking the truth about what was done to us. The question isn't whether you believe us. The question is this: are you willing to ask yourself who benefits from your disbelief? Don't let a warning label decide what you believe. Listen to survivors. Think for yourself and ask yourself who benefits from our silence, because the answer to that question will tell you everything you need to know. If you are a survivor, I encourage you to go to ariseandshineafterabuse.com for more information, resources, and support. Thank you for watching.